Greetings of peace and love, everyone. I'm Djehuty, and I'm back with yet another video. If I had to give this video a title, it would be My Way, because I'm going to talk about doing things my way in respect or with respect to natural healing, herbalism, advertising, marketing, philanthropy, and business. You put all those things together, and I did them my way. And I want to make this video especially for the people that I'm assisting, the people who have decided to do their own thing as far as herbalism. And I would say doing their own thing in a business sense. In a business sense, which is going to entail advertising, marketing, in addition to educating, enlightening, or informing the people. You get a lot of questions from neophytes, and understandably so. They don't know, they're testing the waters. Times have changed. It's not like when I first started 20 plus something years ago. There was no social media. The internet was a neophyte. It was a baby. It was just getting started. So a lot has changed. A lot has changed. So, I understand people wanting to be careful or cautious, wanting to do, what's best for themselves, their customers, and their business. Walking that fine line in the age of censorship. Just a lot of things to deal with. So I said, let me go ahead and make a video, just explaining what I did, and in doing all that I did based on being true to myself, that leading to success, that leading to my personal success, because that's what everybody wants. They want to be successful. But also, too, a lot of people want to try, tried and true methods. And I don't believe in that, at least 100%, maybe 50%. But then there's another 50% that is predicated upon your personal experiences, man, trial and error. Trial and error. Now, most people, I do notice for most human beings do operate under a sheepish mentality. And a lot of that has to do with the matrix, going to school, the public school system, and just, rearing. Our parents went to the public, school system. So they're conditioned to rear a certain way, so 9 times out of 10 in the matrix, man, we get it from day one. So, people are a certain way in their thinking, and I've noticed that, the majority of people want to do something a tried, true way. But tried, true ways are indicative of the people who try things on their own and learn from their own trial and error, their own personal experiences. And they kept trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. And, they hit goal, they hit jackpot. They were able to come up with their way, predicated upon doing things their way. They got it. So when you deal with tried and true methods, those are really for like other people, when it pertains to yourself, you can use that as a blueprint, but you have to try things for yourself and be true to yourself. So at the end of the day, you can get to that which is tried and true for yourself, predicated upon your own personal experiences. There's no fun in this if you're going to follow, the tried and true ways of other people. And I'm not saying to not do that, because something is better than nothing, but you don't want to do that 100%. You want to have room available to experience. You're creative, and so you're going to need that room, to express your creativity. And it will probably in all due honesty, it'll probably derail from, tried and true methods established or created by other people. You're going to deviate, you're going to derail, but that's where growth comes from, and creativity does that. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, So there are certain things that just happens to be standard, where for the most part, people in this industry, this natural healing and herbal industry, know certain things and agree on certain things. There's a certain amount of things that we all agree upon. We don't agree on everything, but there's a certain amount of things that we do agree on. And you could start from there, take that, and then run with it. And if you come across information that is different, from the core, from the nucleus, rock with it, man. Follow it. Be true to yourself. That's one of the things that made people like Dr. Sebi and myself stand out. We were controversial because we didn't always agree with the industry. We went with, our facts, predicated upon the research. We went with certain things. You could add Dr. Reverend Phil Valentine to the equation. Very controversial because, he went, where his truth took him. He went where, the facts from his research took him, So he too is an individual that stands out, being true to himself. Everything can't be 100%. Everybody agrees on everything 100%. That just doesn't exist. That just doesn't exist. There are core beliefs that are Dr. Sebi, that are Phil Valentine, that are Djehuty Matra, that are Dr. B. Sirius, and others agree on. And then there are going to be other things that we don't agree on. We're free thinkers. We're independent thinkers. We're bold thinkers. And, we deal with certain things that others in the industry don't deal with. So, of course, we're going to come up with information that others may have not heard and or agree upon because they haven't heard it, they haven't looked into it, they haven't researched it. Or they did and have just come to a different conclusion. Suffice to say, people, you just have to be true to yourself. You have to be true to yourself. You have to be your own man, your own woman in this. And especially if you want to be successful. As the great Earl Nightingale always said, you have to lead the field. If you're not leading the field, if you're not out there putting forth an effort to lead the field, you're a unilinear. You're a sheep. Unilinears and sheep don't lead the field. Followers do not lead. Leaders lead. So you don't want to be a follower. You don't want to be a sheep. You don't want to be a unilinear. Be bold, courageous, to follow your heart. Do things differently. That's where it is. That's where it is. I look back on my career in natural healing. I have zero regrets. I came out of the gates just blasting my way. I was respectful of those who were on the scene before me. I started my path in Los Angeles, California, here in the United States, and there was Dr. B. Sirius on the scene, Dr. Sebi, who was like the chief person, the number one person, very well known. You had Tariq Wakar, you had Brother M. Siddiqui, you had Sister Yuki. I mean, man, you had some dynamic individuals, man, powerhouse individuals. It was such a blessing and an honor to get started in Los Angeles. You had Dr. David Allen, you had the Mooney twins, Daryl and Dwayne Mooney. Man, you had some real powerhouses on the West Coast. Serious powerhouses, man. So looking back on my beginning, man, it was a true blessing to come up in Los Angeles and to come up amongst those great dynamic individuals. I was surrounded by them. Nevertheless, I was my own person, which I've always been. I was, born or incarcated as a black sheep. So, I've always done things my way. I've always been a different cat, always. And I'm glad for that, and just happy that I scripted that, in a previous lifetime, because I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't have it any other way. And being who I was, the way that I am, but we're dealing with the late 90s. I just came out the gate just blasting, and I'm talking about in the form of creativity, just doing things my way. As I said, a few minutes ago, Sabi was the #1 person out here. Sabi had his products, and everybody knew about them, and everybody knew about those prices, which were sky high. And being the type of person that I am, I had issues with that, as an opinion, because, when you're doing your own thing, you get to do your own thing. So you get to name your formulas, whatever name you want to name them. You set the prices of them, whatever price or prices you want to set them at, for your products. Your information, you get to express it or verbalize it, or write it the way you want to. It's, it's your thing. It's your thing. So, I had my opinions on Dr. Sabi and, how he conducted business, how he set his prices, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I had my opinions, but they were just that. And they were subjective. I kept them to myself. I was never the objective type in the industry, and especially starting out. I always saw those cats as my elders. So it was just a natural respect there. Even if I had, I would say, adverse or averse opinions. If I had aversions to anything, what they were teaching, how they were teaching, setting prices, interacting with the community, what have you. Just, things of averse nature, I always kept to myself, very subjective, out of respect. Didn't want any problems. I'm the, quote unquote, new kid on the block. So, kept to myself, kept my subjective opinions to myself, and just focus on what I wanted to do. I simply focused on what I wanted to do. That first business was Afia Herbaceuticals. It was my ex-wife, Janine, and myself. Shortly thereafter, my baby girl, Layla, was on the scene. So, it was, just the trinity, myself, ex-wife, and my baby girl. And that was the late 1990s. Like I said, I was in Los Angeles, and there was a sea. There was a sea of dynamic healers, herbalists. But didn't bother me one bit. Didn't bother me one bit. And I had conversations. Well, I didn't have conversations, plural, but I had a 2-hour talk with Sabi, which was cool. We chopped it up. We vibed. I'll never forget that meeting. Dr. B, we spoke all the time. Hilarious dude. Knowledgeable cat. Hilarious cat. Spoke to Dr. B. Had multiple conversations with him. Mooney Twins. And I would actually see a lot of these people at the Good Life. The Good Life was located Crenshaw Boulevard and Exposition, in a little shopping center across the street from West Angeles Church, that opulent, luxurious cathedral they built. It's on the opposite side of the street, the western side of the street on Crenshaw Boulevard. I believe it's a Hispanic or Latino medical center now. That property, that location, was lost to real estate. I want to say sometime in the 2000s, after the owner, Sister Aoife Sade, a beautiful soul, and I learned a lot from her. she transitioned from cancer, and she owned the good life. And when she was beleaguered with her pathology, um, it things changed. Yeah, things changed, and it was pretty much the end of the good life. If I had to say that any place was my alma mater, it would be the good life. It would be the good life because that's where all the conscious black folks. That's where all the conscious black folks met up in Los Angeles during the week, you know. And when we had special speakers in there, like Dr. Patrice Newton from Ghana, you know, I mean, the good life would be jam packed, man. We would pack standing room only. Yeah, standing room only packed attendance for certain people. And in all due honesty, it was a lot. We had those type of experiences a lot. You know, there were days you can go in and you know you could find a table, a seat, what have you, and do your thing. But then there were a lot of days, people, where it was just standing room only. Um, you didn't eat those days, you know, unless you got something to go, or unless you order nature food standing up. It was that packed, man. That was my alma mater. The Good Life, you know, led by Sister Ifa Sade, the late great Sister Ifa Sade. So we're talking late 90s, man, dynamic individuals. Got this new herbalist, Djehuty on the scene. And he's a researcher at heart. He's a researcher by nature, so he researches everything and everybody. And not to do his own thing. Not to do his own thing. Like, I didn't copy from people the herbs that they were using in their formulas. I've always been this eclectic type, this unorthodox type, this radical type. So out the gate, I got to do things differently. I can't be like everybody else. You know, a person whose name I haven't mentioned in this video, Dr. Paul Goss. Dr. Paul Goss was on the scene. Like, when I tell you LA had some dynamic individuals, you know, as far as the healing scene goes, it did. The great Dr. Paul Goss. You had Tim Morrow, the late great Tim Morrow. A lot of these people that I'm naming have made their transition. Dr. Paul Goss, Tim Morrow, who was the head of the University of Common Sense. Yeah, Dr. Sabi. You know, a lot of these pioneers, man, are crossing over. But I'll never forget them. Never, never, never. So, I mean, we had some powerhouses. And so, you know, I would check out University of Common Sense, TMI Herbs, which were tablets, and I didn't agree with that, you know. And I would look at the ingredients, and it's like, wow, man, it's you know, it's not a lot of ingredients. Good ingredients, but not a lot. I'm like, there's just so many great herbs. Why not add them to the mix? But I would soon learn that, you know, once you have something, get your labels made and, you know, register it, get the website made. You know, people kind of rock with that, you know. And I noticed that was just the way, you know, like Dr. Paul Goss with the New Body Herbs, you know, it just kept things the same for years. Never switched up. And I noticed that. I noticed that with Sabi. I just noticed that with everybody, in all due honesty. You know, and this is no hate or you know, shade or what have you. It is what it is. Very few people. I didn't see people grow. You know, very, 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 very few people. Very few people on the scene back then grew. You know, that's just how it was. You made a product and you just rock with it. And there was no improvement. So for me, I knew that when I came across something that would improve a formula, if I came across a new herb or two or three or four or five or whatever it was, I was going to incorporate it into the product. I have to change everything. I have to change the label. I have to change, you know, on the website, the listing of ingredients on the website. It didn't matter. And I would educate the people and say, hey, listen, you know, the liver formula has changed. You know, I'm adding A, B, C, D to it, you know. And 9 times out of 10, I didn't even increase the price. I didn't even increase the price. You know, one thing about me, if you look at if you study my history over the years, you don't see a lot of price increases. I have a personal policy to not increase prices. See, in the matrix, everything goes up because of inflation, and that's pretty much predicated by those who run the financial system. We're dealing with Khazarian or European Jews, Anglo-Saxons, like that's just their thing, inflation, which is a hidden tax. And it takes away from the little people. The rich people don't care about inflation because 9 times out of 10 they don't pay any. They create it. But it really hurts the little man, the little woman. And where I come from, the hood, there's a lot of little people, a lot of little men, a lot of little women, and we feel everything. We feel price hikes. When gas go up, we feel it. When food prices increase, we feel it. So that was my upbringing. I came up like that. I came up, experiencing that. My parents experienced it, and they, expressed themselves about it. They would let you know, like, man, cost of bread has gone up. Cost of, meat has gone up. Cost of eggs has gone up. Cost of gas has gone up. You would hear your parents and your uncles and aunts talk about that, and then you become a teenager, young man, and you're on your own, you have a job, you have your own apartment, and then you get it, phone bill. Everything is increasing. You see the increases on your phone bill, your utilities. Everything in Western society goes up. That's just the way of it. And I don't control it. We don't control it. I just sit back and say, hey, these Khazarians and the Anglos, this is their world. I don't want to get off into how and why it's their world. Today, it's their world. They do things the way that they want to do it. And, we go along with it. We pay the taxes, we pay the inflation, and, they come up with a dictate, we follow. They benefit, we get hurt. And it just keeps going, because we're not going to change anything. We don't know how to change anything. But anyway, for myself, I'm not in control of the society. I'm not in control of the banking system, not in control of any of these external, exogenous things, not in control of those things. But I am in control of what I do. And with my herbal company, my herbal business, I was in control. So I said, you know what? No price increases. To this day, my full body detox, I could sell that bad boy for $250. But I have a personal policy whereby I'm not going to sell it for over $100. Now, it did go over 100. When I was with former business partners, 80 and Jamel and all them, it went to like 120. I think they sell it now for like 127. It went up, but that was because of business. Other people were involved. And, when you have business partners, people have their views. And, people are not spiritually cultivated. Their views are going to reflect the world. They have no problem doing things of the world. And, when you're spiritual, you're bold. You don't really care about the world. The spiritual world holds more weight than the material world, but there are compromises, you want to appease, everybody's on different levels. So the people stress, they're worried, again, they're not spiritually inclined. So they kind of judge, your ability to do business, which is predicated, from spirituality, so you compromise, okay, $20 extra. And the people were cool with it, But if I was solo and doing things, I would have kept it under $100. Always looking out for the little man and the little woman. Always looking out for like the little people. Again, in the Western world, think everything goes up. Well, not everything. Well, prices, for the most part, prices of consumer goods goes up, and your salary, wages don't go up. They're pretty, consistent. They stay where they are, for years. If they increase is a quarter, 50 cents, what have you. Some business like $1, but it's never enough because inflation make the prices go up. So the prices keep going up, and those prices go up faster than your salary. And, or your wages, as far as increases or raise, pay raise, wage or raise, what have you. So it doesn't really make a difference, So when prices are going up and how much you make doesn't go up, you feel that. That's inflation. That's the hidden tax predicated upon greed. because those who are in control, they're greedy individuals. They have more than they need. In several lifetimes, they're in positions of power, so they can pretty much do whatever that they want to do. And myself, I said, I'm cool. As long as that business can take care of itself and everybody can get paid and everything can get done, I'm keeping the prices the same. And yes, business does get good. When you got a good thing, it will naturally grow. It will naturally grow. So the business experienced a lot of growth. Every business that I've had, ebb and flow existed, of course, and will always exist. But for the most part, my businesses have just always just done well. Once I tapped into the Midas touch, as a psychic told me that I had, but I was blocked at the time. But she told me that you have the Midas touch and that everything that you touch is supposed to turn to gold. And that was very true. Yeah, because once I broke it, gold. Nothing but gold. So I tapped into my Midas touch and my businesses, they all followed suit and just generated a lot of money. But I never let it go to my head. I never got greedy. I did my philanthropy through the business, and the philanthropy was I let the people save, and I'm the one who took the hit, because I would do free shipping. I would pay the sales taxes for people. I would let the products go for 30% off, 40% off, 50% off, 60% off, 70% off, 80% off. Hell, one time I even did 90% off. I did the most radical thing that nobody has done or will do. It defies matrix, material world business logic. It just defies the things that I've done. It just defies logic. It's spiritualpreneurism. That's what it is, And as I said earlier, if you're not spiritual, you're not going to agree. Like you're going to question my logic, which was the case in dealing with a lot of people from the world. So crazy that the crazy man, the guru, the spiritual dude, was the one who created all the businesses. And then all these little worldly people who got their degrees from worldly universities, they came on board and they brought their thinking with them. Man, Djehuty, I don't know what you're doing, man. You're going to lose the business. You giving the business away. You giving the store away, man. This ain't going to work, man. You want to do 30% off? You want to do 40% off? 50%? Oh, man, it's going to hurt us. We never got hurt. It always worked out, And despite that, you just could not make believers out of these people, even though they saw it with their own eyes. It just wasn't in here. They would just doubt. You made 30% work. That was in 2012. 2012. It was either late 2011 or 2012. And then 2012, you do 30-40% off. And then by 2013, I was doing, 50%, 60%, 70%, 90% off between 2013 and 2014. And despite that, you just had people on board who just did not believe. And those are the type of people that will slow you down. Those are the type of people that will slow you down. And as I talked about compromise, you end up compromising because you lose so much time. I mean, these people will argue with you for hours as to why you shouldn't, use glass and should use plastic to hold your oils and your creams and what have you. Because plastic is cheaper, it's not going to break. These people look at every problem. They don't look at solutions. The solution is just make sure you wrap it really well. With those type of people, well, that's going to cost us a lot of money. Now we got to buy extra bubble jet. Like they're counting everything, It could be sitting on millions of dollars. It doesn't matter. They see problems. They see, pennies spent, and that's why the world is the way it is, because even with these people who come from the hood, who come from poverty, being on board myself, generating millions of dollars, it just wasn't in them, because they saw problems, glass breaking, customers complaining, spending extra money, spending more than double because glass costs more than plastic. Everything that was just negative, like boom, they're there, they got it. They don't see the positive. Myself, I see the positive. You can do glass. Glass is better. It's better for the earth. The customer is going to like it. It represents quality. You just have to wrap it more, so yeah, you're going to use more bubble jet, but how much does a box of bubble jet cost? What, $25 to $30 something? What's that when you're sitting on millions of dollars? What's the problem? And the problem is in here. And that's, the problems that are in here are the problems that become our problems. And you're in meetings, man, going for hours over stuff that's just minor, just minor. And, I always knew that if I got solo, it would be easy selling. What you see now with Tootie My Raw Herbs is just easy selling. You see glass for the creams and the oils, for some of the herbs you see glass. You don't see it for all of it because no company can guarantee that they're going to always be in stock. That's the problem. If you can find, companies that will make sure that your supplies, your containers are readily available, you rock with it. But you always do your due diligence. If I use green capsules, can I always count on you guys to have green capsules available? If I'm going to use red capsules, can I always count on you guys to have them available? If I'm going to use these glass cream jars, can I count on you to always have them available so that you don't slow the business down? Because then that becomes a problem. When you create problems that are like crack cocaine, your customers are going to act like crack fiends. Like, where my stuff at, man? I just ordered 6 hours ago. Well, not 6 hours ago, but I'm just, putting emphasis on things. People can just order on a Monday and they're hitting you up by Wednesday or Thursday. Where my order at? They really do act like crack fiends, but you have qualitative products and they want it, they need it, right away, So, that all comes from how you do things, man, which is really quality, man. It's quality of information, quality of products, and quality, attaches itself to integrity. It's actually a synonym, quality and integrity, So when your products have integrity, when the owners have integrity, the business has integrity, success is just right around the corner. It's inevitable, especially in this world and in this age and day. It's going to take you over the hump. Companies are not accountable. They don't want to be accountable for anything. They want to penny crunch. They don't want to invest. It's all about, keeping money, keeping more than is going to your customers who keep you in business, So even though you're sitting on a lot of money, you want to keep that in your pocket, and take it out of your customer's pocket, And for me, over the years, I've always dealt with, poor class, quote unquote, lower economic class people. So I always related to them, and so nobody had to ask me to do a sale or, hey, help us out, what have you. I knew to do that. And there's a downside to that, with certain people who come from, that particular class. And I get it why a lot of people don't do the things that I've done over the years, because of the attitude of unfortunately, of the poor, lower economic classes of people. There's a poverty consciousness. There's an attitude that comes with it. And, the average, if you're not a spiritualpreneur, if you're not a spiritual person or a healer or what have you, you can't deal with that. You're unwilling. You're unable and unwilling to deal with that. And it's like, bump that, so the prices will go up. And, if the clientele is going to be mostly Europeans or Caucasians because they're, economically better off, than the masses of, colored people, black and colored people, they'll rock with that. They'll rock with it, and they're not 100%, wrong. The 50% of it is the headaches, the unnecessary headaches. Like, this is just business. I'm not a healer. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I'm in business, and you bringing all this stuff my way, you're bringing this stress and this anxiety, and it's all unnecessary. A lot of it is because you guys don't read, you're ignorant, and so we become like a suicide hotline or a health questionnaire. A health questioning hotline, where you're asking a million something questions as if we operate like we're getting paid to answer your questions. No, the company gets paid from selling products. It's business, but you'll get a lot of people, from the poor, lower economic classes and of different, community races or what have you. And they will constipate your business. They will blow up your phone line. They will constipate your phone lines. You're there for them, and forget your customers who will call and who patronize the business and who have legitimate, questions. Forget them. It's all about me. I'm on the phone 30 minutes, and I know from firsthand experience because years ago I would do customer service. And because I turned into a cyberspace celebrity, it was horrible. It was horrible. I love customer service. But the people, and this was really like all people, but especially from the poor, lower economic class of society, man, I was like Michael Jackson, the Michael Jackson of health. And I was unable to do my job. I was unable. I could not just answer questions. Djehuty, is this Djehuty? Oh my God, brother. And it's like, whoa, this is customer service. How can I help you? Yeah. But I got to tell you what you've done for me, man. How you changed my life. And in the red dots on the phone, it's just blinking. And people just, they don't care. And it's not a malicious, it's not a malicious uncaring. They're just awestruck. They're starstruck, and you can make a million videos. Hey, listen, guys, I know how you guys feel about me, but please, if you get me on the phone, please don't do A, B, C, D. And they'll tell you, like, I heard you. I know you say don't do A, B, C, D, but I got to do it. I'm going to do it. So I had to pull myself from customer service in order to help the business because it just wasn't good for business. It was good, but then it wasn't good. There are certain people who could handle it, and they made it good for business. But then there were people who couldn't handle it, and it wasn't good, for business. And when you're dealing with a certain mindset, there's that love-hate mentality. If they can't get through, if you don't get back to them fast enough, like they go off on you. It's that love-hate thing. Next thing you know, if they're talking about destroying you, they're going to slander you all over the internet, and they're going to tell people not to patronize. And you go back a couple of weeks, months, years, these people praise and idolize you. So you're dealing with a lot. And so there's a lot of people who are not like me. They don't understand that mindset. They don't even have the knowledge to help, transform that mindset, to heal that mindset. We don't have time for that. We want the moolah. We in this for the money. We're not therapists. We're not psychiatrists, psychologists. We're not. We do business. So that's why a lot of people like, listen, all this little stuff you about, Djehuty, we not about it. And so, people have come and people have gone, and I'm just doing things the way that I've always wanted to do them. Like, I'm not a part of the business. I'm not in it. Don't get it twisted. These people still get emails and, hey, Dr. Djehuty. And it's like, wow, like people they really believe that as busy as I am, I feel like the whole world is just after me. I feel like that every day of my life. And it's just crazy how people think, that like I'm reading every freaking email. Like I'm doing it, like one man doing everything. Most of those emails, man, to customer service, they're directed, they're addressed to myself. And it's just mind-boggling, And so the staff is constantly telling people, you got to think in terms of Magic Johnson theaters. Nobody expected Magic Johnson as owner to work in those theaters that bore his name, Magic Johnson Cinemas or Magic Johnson Theaters. You never expected Magic to work in the box office. You never expected Magic Johnson to work in concessions. You never expected Magic Johnson to be the projectionist. It was the same thing with myself, But a lot of people are like, no, screw that, because in the past, dude used to be there. We don't know, and we know Djehuty got issue with people, so he could be lying, what have you. So we ain't really believe in that whole Magic Johnson type analogy. We ain't believe in that, and the people just bring it, But you got to have a love of people. You have to have an understanding of people. You got to have a patience with people in order to endure and to do these things. And for the people who are starting out, if you want to do things the way that, I did things, use that as a blueprint, the way I did things, you use them as a blueprint, then you have to understand, everything that's in the equation, and prepare yourself for it because it's coming. If you're going to do things like myself and look out for the people and drop knowledge, like it's coming, the headaches are coming. The people who will act like you exist only for them, and they're going to ask you 20 questions. Nobody else exists. It's just only them. Like it's coming. And you're going to have to deal with that, and you have to know now, is that something you want to deal with? Because if you start out and you change it, are you willing to deal with those consequences? You know how it is if somebody get hooked on something that's good, like drug fiends get hooked on a drug and it ain't there. They be like, come on, man, come on, give me some, man, come on, I gotta have some, come on, man. Next thing you know, pow, right upside the head. And that pow, right upside the head could be, the slandering of your business or slandering of yourself. Like, it is crazy. People are going through things, man. It's crazy out there. It's really crazy. But I've been able to manage because I did things my way. I wrote 800 articles. I made 800 videos. It's just a lot of education. Any thought that came to mind, I put it out there to the people, and that helped. It wasn't the solution 100 or 1000%, but it did help. It did help. And there are people who are just lazy. They don't want to read, what have you. Then there are people who can watch the video, which is easier than reading, but they're into you now. So they want to talk to you. They want some of your energy. They want to, in order to feel a certain way, they need to connect to you. So, even though you've made the video and you've educated, man, if they get the opportunity to talk to you, they're going to talk to you about some stuff that they already have the answer to. They already know about it. It's not even about that. It's about talking to you. And all of that being busy in the world after you, they don't care about that. It never even crosses their mind. 9/10 of the people, being fair, because there's always an exception to the rule. But 9/10 of the people, they're not going to care, man. And you're dealing with poor, lower economic classes of people, man. And it's a mindset, and I've been doing this for 20-something years, so I've been able to help bring people up. A lot of people got it now. A lot of people know, like, hey, how much for the consultation? They know now. Before, they didn't know. Like, you exist for me, so I'm going to talk to you. I don't care if it's 2 hours, 3, 4 hours. You exist for me. See, those people have been helped, so they know, hey, man, how much for your time? They know that they have to pay for your time, just like they pay for everything in the matrix. When you come over to the spiritual side, you got to do the same things you do for the material side. That's the only way the spiritual side becomes tantamount to the material side. See, that's the only way.